How you guys doing? Woo! Hold on, let me get set up. This is always the awkward part. Awkward? Okay. Hi, my name is Mary. Woo, loud. Hi, my name is Mary. Hi. On the count of 3, can you say your name? 1, 2, 3. Great to meet you guys. Awesome. A little bit about myself. I live in South Bend, Indiana. Yeah, go Irish. I sold drugs for a living for many years, legally, people. I was a pharmaceutical sales rep for many years, and just recently they're all like, she's talking about drugs. She's gonna talk about sex too, this is crazy. So I was a pharmaceutical sales rep for a couple years, and I just left, been doing the ministry on the side. I just left my job to do full-time ministry, and I travel around and get to share what the Lord's done, and I'm so excited to be here. Now, those of you who have been to a Steubenville conference before, they're like, yeah. Maybe you know that during this time, like sometimes we've done these sessions in the past and we kind of split up the men and the women. And the men kind of go off into some like cave somewhere and they like explode things and like blow things up and like do what guys do, I don't know, grunt and like be men, I don't know. I don't know what you do. It's good that we don't know. The men are like, yeah. And like we women get together and we're just like, just enjoy each other, we laugh, we share, and we affirm, like, you look so great. No, you look great. I love your shoes. Those shoes are awesome, right? And we go back and forth. And with this session, check this out, with this session is something a little bit different. Is that we're pulling you together, both as men and women, to explode some things. And to affirm some things. And I don't know what your story is, and I don't know what brought you here. But today it's my honor and privilege to really share this awesome theology of the body a little bit with you. Some of you guys may have heard that. I have a slide. Go ahead and throw my first slide, if you have it. Oh, look, that's okay. So what is the theology of the body? Today I'm talking a little bit about the theology of the body, and don't turn off because this is awesome. First of all, it's a theology written by our previous Pope John Paul the Great. Isn't he so cute? I love him. I love him. I just want to snuggle with him. I'm not going to lie, just like fit in the nook, you know, like just cuddle with him. He's so great. So I love John Paul the Great, and what he has written, he's given us a great gift in this theology of the body. And what it is 129 different audiences, and what that is when he gives a talk at the Vatican. And in these, he's done that throughout his years. And the next slide, you can. And what it is he does a whole teaching on life, love, and human sexuality. Yeah, he's awesome. And what they did is they compiled it in this beautiful theology of the body. And so we're going to be talking about all these things. You know, John Paul the Great talked about that the future and the foundation of our life is who man and women will be for each other. And he gives us this beautiful image, like that we as separate and different come together to have a great vision. And so like, you know, today we're going to answer some of those questions like men. Have you ever wondered, like, why the ladies, you know, they're all sitting together, and the ladies, one of them stands up and says, I have to go to the bathroom. And then who else needs to go? And they're all like, I do. And then they all get up together, and they all, like, storm off to the bathroom, and the guys are like, dude, can't you go by yourself? No, thank you. We cannot. Because, first of all, we as ladies are more communal. Okay, so when we're together in the bathroom, it's a bonding moment. Right? So let me get together. And second of all, we go to the bathroom because we're talking about you. Okay? And we need privacy to do that. So yeah, and then like, ladies, do you ever wonder, like, you're in the car with your guy that you're dating and you're driving and he's quiet and you're quiet and you kind of look over and think, what are you thinking? Right? The guy's like, nothing. You Like, check this out. Check this out. This is so good, okay? Because women, our minds are like this electronic, like wired, like computer where everything is connected. And in one conversation, we can talk about like what shoes we're going to buy next week, what we have for homework, what our mother said last night, and we can like weave all around because everything's like connected in this like mass of awesomeness, right? Right. It's awesome, right? Everything's connected. And men, oh, you're so awesome. Men, your minds are made up of boxes. Okay? No, check this. And no, this is so good, right? Check this out. And there's like a school box, and there's like a friend's box, and then there's like all these boxes, and none of the boxes touch. Okay? So like when you're talking about one thing, he's like, dude, wait, I'm in my school box. Like, and there actually is, like, I have brothers, and literally they're like, we really do have a nothing box. There's a box with nothing in it. And you love that box, because like our minds are always going crazy, like a mile a minute, and guys are like, just hanging, like, it's beautiful. The simplicity in that, and like the crazy complexity of us, like we come together in this complementarity of what John Paul talks about, right? We're different, and yet it's this beautiful like imagery. In some ways, you can think of it like a dance. You guys ever seen Dancing with the Stars? Right. That was a lot more women. But yeah, this beautiful like dance, Dancing with the Stars, you have the man and the woman, and they're dancing together, and it's this beautiful waltz. And they're going, and it's beautiful, and they're like, the man has his moves, and the woman has her moves, and together they flow in this beautiful dance. And that's what John Paul is talking about, that together we make this beautiful dance. But sometimes in our life, what happens is that this dance that we're supposed to have between the genders, it isn't so pretty. We're like, like it's not this beautiful waltz that God intended. It's this stumbling dance where you watch and there's divorce and there's woundedness and there's hurt. And sometimes we don't even want to engage in the dance, and we get injured and we stumble and we don't know our role and we don't know like why we're there or the steps. And quite honestly, we don't even know ourselves. I had a friend of mine recently that was talking to me. He does counseling, and he was sharing about this young man that he works with. He recently, he's a teenage kid. He's kind of lost, and he was sharing about, like, he just recently got his girlfriend pregnant. He's kind of into drugs. He's doing all these things, and the kid is just lost. And my friend, the ache and pain in his voice as he was talking about this youth, we were just talking together, and he just said, these kids, like they're just a mess. And he goes, like, this kid, and he's telling me about this kid, and he just says, like, he doesn't even know what it means to be human. Like, these kids don't even know what it means to be human. And that word just hit in my heart. Like, what does it mean to be human? Like, why are we here? This is the answer of what John Paul is talking to us about in this theology of the body, right? Like, all of you ever thought and sat down in the stars and we talked about the wonder yesterday, and looked at God, and you feel so small. And you're like, why am I here? What are all these desires I have in my heart? Like, what is this all about? Like, what is this whole sex thing about? Like, why is this, like, it's all like a mess. And what John Paul gives us in this gift of theology of the body is a vision for that. Because the world tells us a lot of things about sex, right? Right? So I was coming in here through, I was coming in, and on the airport, San Diego came in, and there was like, I got a little tour of San Diego when I came here, and there were all these billboards, and the show True Blood there was a big billboard for it. I don't watch that show. I'm not promoting it. And there was like, they're all kind of, I don't know, there was other pictures of scandalous, like, naked women, not naked, but just very, like, women dressed very sexy, and all these, like, sex is everywhere. You can't walk down the street without seeing a billboard or a woman or various, like, messages about sex. And I pulled out some magazines. I just want to hit these real quick. This is what I picked up at the recent. You can show the next slide so you can see it close up. So this is, keep going to the next one, sorry. So, yeah, little Cosmo. So let's read some of these images of what, like, our culture tells us about sex. This is Cosmo. And it says, naughty questions and answers. 100 sex questions. We answered every dirty thing you want to know in 20 words or less. Very efficient. I mean, very efficient, right? You on top, the fierce new secrets to success. Signs he's craving you. Virgins in Cosmo. We thought this day would never come. Right? Red Book, this is just what guys really need. 6 ways to blast off fat. That'd be nice to know. Maybe I'll read that later. You tested our best sex tips. What sizzles and fizzles. Oh my goodness. It's getting all comfortable. So, and these images are everywhere, right? Talking about sex and all of these things. The problem with all of these images is that all of us, and I want you to hear this, men, particularly with the women, all of us in this room have looked at, for the women, I can only speak as a woman, have looked at those images and compared ourselves to those images. And we've thought, I wish I looked like her. And then we beat ourselves up and we cut ourselves down because we don't. My butt is too big, my hips are too wide, my breasts are too small. And we cut ourselves up and we beat ourselves down even to the point of starving ourselves, of cutting ourselves, of throwing up. And this is not just, it breaks my heart as I travel and I hear these stories after stories, and it's not just in every degree. And I'm telling you, men, hear this, everyone, and it's not just affecting the women. The men are starting to get affected. Then you can show the next. We have a lot of messages for the men too. Okay, God help us. Don't be lusting, okay? We're talking about chastity. 30, I don't even know, okay, anyway, 789, okay, take it down. I'm uncomfortable. So in all these images, right, even men are starting to have various things about their body. And my nephew, 14 years old, he's shorter for his stature, and you can tell as you talk to him, he's starting to get that insecurity. He's starting to feel that. He's starting to bulk up, and all that, and I just wish, for me in my life, it breaks my heart because if you would have seen me in high school, you would have thought that I was the girl that had my act together, right? I was student council, varsity sports, and all these various things. And on the outside, she had it together, but on the inside, man, back then, I never felt like I was good enough. I never felt like I was pretty enough. I was always too tall, too big, too fat, not smart enough, and all these things. And I just wish that we knew that. Because our culture distorts our body, but it also distorts our sexuality. How many of you guys have heard of this show? And this is going to date me a little bit, so forgive me. There's a show called Sex and the City that came out a couple years ago. Okay, hang with me. Okay, so I'm going to do some confessions. When I was in college, I used to watch a lot of crazy HBO shows, and this show was on quite a bit, and my friends and I, we used to watch it. And the premise of the show, for those of you who don't know it, is these 4 women, and they're living in New York in this glamorous life, and it's their relationships, and very much they're promiscuous and sexually active, and it's about their life and trying to find romance. And so we used to watch the show and laugh and various things, and I'm going to share a little bit about my conversion and what God has done in my life. But at that time in my life, we used to watch this show pretty regularly, and after my conversion, God really asked me to start just challenging me on what shows I was watching and what I was bringing in. And so I stopped kind of watching some of the things I was. And I remember after our youth group Bible study one night, there was another youth minister who was talking about Sex and the City. And he was promoting it. I'm like, okay, why are you promoting this show? Because they're kind of sexually active in various things, and we're talking about chastity today. And so he was like, man, Sex and the City, that show is awesome. He's like, Sex and the City, that show rocks. And he's going on, and he's getting more excited. Sex and the City, man, that show's the best show ever, and it's awesome. And he stops, and I'm kind of freaking out, Paul, what are you doing, And he stops, and he just says, man, the devil did a great job with that one. The devil did a great job with that show. That show is funny.